guys? Just some late night news and notes from the Braves the last couple of days. Obviously, our coaching staff has taken a hit, and that's a compliment because we've been so good and so consistent over the last 6 years. But it hurts nonetheless with Ron Washington managing in LA. He took his best friend EY with him, so we have to replace both corners, first and third base. A couple of names I've heard bantied about. Willie Harris, famously that 6-for-6 game in 2007 with the giveaway bat that Jeffrey Core always says. He's been a base coach for a while. Eric Hinsky, possible first base coach. Braves connection was with the Cubs, and with the turnover there, that may be an option. David Ross as well, probably a little bit more unlikely, but possible. Those are the names that I've heard most recently. But I know the guys are going to be good, and we're going to be fine. It's just going to be weird and very different, but for a very good reason. The other news, Huascar Inoa looks to be ready for spring training as he recovered from his second Tommy John surgery. And it'll be interesting to see his utilization, whether that'll be starter or reliever. It could be an ace in the hole type of reliever thing, because his devastating 2 curveballs and gas, and he can let it eat if it's 1 to 2 innings at a time. But that'll probably depend on what we do to address the rotation in free agency in the offseason and all that stuff, trades and things of that nature. But that could be that's a really intriguing piece to watch, because he was dominant before he and the bench in Milwaukee met disaster, unfortunately. Hopefully Inoa has learned from that one, but it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. And probably the most interesting tidbit from the last couple of days is that AA mentioned that Vaughn Grissom may get a chance in left field. And of course, as a shortstop, athletes can do, shortstops usually can play all around the field. We saw Chipper do it. A lot of guys have done it. And 330 is hard to ignore, and that's what he hit at Gwinnett for the majority of the season, and he had an historic on-base streak, and I think it was a 419 on-base percentage, so that'll play. I just am confused if we wouldn't have tried it last year with her historically good offense and EY being our outfield guru and him not being around anymore. I don't know. And typically, Alex Anthopoulos doesn't say things, so it's kind of interesting. But 330 does play, especially in left field. And he has a great arm, so I think he could do it there. But I kind of want a stable left field. I know we platoon left field for the majority of the last 4 or so years. So I'm not against it, obviously, but like a Lourdes Gurriel Jr. or something something of that caliber may be better. I don't know, because maybe you could use Vaughn Grissom in a starting pitching trade or something, with the Brewers announcing pretty much a fire sale, although it's going to be very expensive. Vaughn Grissom could fit there. I'm not sure. But typically, AA doesn't say things like that. And usually when GMs talk this time of year, it's usually to create buzz and create a marketplace or something of that nature, because I think AA said we didn't need a catcher last year and then ended up acquiring Sean Murphy, and he became an all-star. So I think you take everything that a GM says this time of year, excuse me, with a grain of salt, no doubt. But I trust AA wholeheartedly, as always. And Vaughn Grissom is definitely an intriguing piece. And if we do have Vaughn Grissom in a platoon situation in left field, I'm not opposed to that as long as we upgrade the starting rotation somehow, some way, because there are so many questions after this year when it comes to starting pitching. So that are basically the news and notes. Also, one other thing, Charlie Morton coming back could help Oscar Enoa with both of his curveballs as well. So again, Charlie Morton coming back is insane. And if you look at $20 million, and if you look, I think Lucas Giolito I saw today was projected to get $40 to $80 million, and he had an 8-15 record, gave up a bajillion homers, and he's projected to get $20 million per year. So that is why the Charlie Morton contract is not bad at all. Plus, there is no bad one-year deals. I guess you could call the Cole Hamels one maybe a bad one-year deal, but I can't wait to see what Alex Anthopoulos does, and I'm just really excited for it because there's some not picking up Eddie Rosario, even though not a surprise. I think it gives us some opportunity and some flexibility, and maybe that answer is Vaughn Grissom. I'm not sure, but I'm really excited. As always, go Braves, champions forever. Those are news and notes from the last couple of days when it comes to Braves country.